This is Chris Murdock, co-founder and senior partner of IQTalent Partners, and I'm next on the RecTech podcast.
Welcome to RecTech, the podcast where recruiting and technology intersect. Each month, you'll hear from vendors shaping the recruiting world, along with recruiters who'll tell you how they use technology to hire talent. Now, here's your host, the mad scientist of online recruiting, Chris Russell.
All right, this is RecTech, the only podcast that helps employers and recruiters connect with more candidates through technology-inspired conversations. Our mission is to teach you about the new tools and tactics for finding talent online. Today's show is a recruiter edition. But first, the RecTech podcast is sponsored by our friends over at Heidrick, the recruiter's best friend. They've got some new updates out. They fixed the Facebook search, so that's back. They recently added a diversity filter to searches. They've also redesigned candidate profiles and made some enhancements to the import function as well, so check that out. Find them on the web at hiretual.com, HIRETUAL.com. All right, let's get to our guest. So I met today's guest as he drove me and Steve Levy to a dinner hosted by Gerry Crispin in Nashville a few weeks back while I was at the JobGate Summit. He also introduced me to Nashville's best dive bar, and the day after he invited me to hang out in the offices of IQTalent before my flight left, so we had time to have lunch and commiserate for an afternoon while looking over the Nashville skyline. So, Chris Murdock, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for the Southern hospitality.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Russell.
Nice. So, give us a quick bio on yourself and tell listeners what you guys do at IQTalent.
We are a professional services firm that specializes in research, sourcing, recruiting, and executive search by the hour. So we provide on-demand recruiting, sourcing, and research services. Describe the size of your team. I'm curious what types of jobs you typically source and recruit for. Well, right now, we're probably 50% engineering and sales across the board. And then the other 50% is a mixture of non-technical marketing, finance, HR, manufacturing, product management, you name it, all the way from, people with, 1 to 2 years of experience, all the way into some C-suite searches. Mm-hmm. What's the cost of you said whether it's an hourly rate? Is it based on the type of job, or is it a flat rate for any kind of job? Give us some background there. Well, really, it actually is more based on geography. We charge more in the Bay Area because it's a lot harder, takes more time. And we also, do have a few resources, boots on the ground there. Mm-hmm. Most of our team is distributed. We have just over 120 people in our workforce. But the bulk of our team is here in Nashville, nearly 80 people. Okay. You mentioned distributed. How do you manage that, Chris? Could you talk briefly about how you kind of onboard someone who's remote and how you keep them in the loop and stuff? Well, actually, it's been a really big, important part of our growth is in making sure everyone stays connected and gets connected. Mm-hmm. We've learned a lot. We made some mistakes, which we've learned from. We didn't do a good job of orientation for our remote recruiters, employees and contractors. So we actually have started doing in the onboarding process, putting them through the similar training, or at least an accelerated training of what we do for our new sourcers, just so they become aware of our processes, our tools, and we also take the time to get them on Teams. We're an Office 365 shop. Mm-hmm. So we use Teams and SharePoint religiously, and that allows our team to stay, well connected. Gotcha. Let's talk about that training a bit. I mean, do you hire green recruiters fresh out of school and train them on how to source and recruit, or do you tend to hire more actual recruiters who have been in the business for a bit? Well, there's different. We actually in Nashville, most of our team here are sourcers. Most are new to recruiting. Mm-hmm. Some have previous work experience, customer success, or they were in the restaurant business, but they have that high touch customer experience, customer service experience that we like to see. They're team oriented, they're curious, they ask a lot of questions, so that's kind of what we look for. And we have a 2-week comprehensive classroom training program that we've created over the last 5 years or so. It just gets better with every class. And then they do two weeks of job shadow, where they kind of rotate around providing backup support, learning different things. If they're, whether they're technical or non-technical leaning, we'll assign them to clients that will give them really good exposure to how things get done. On the experienced hire side, typically we hire recruiters with 7+ years of experience. They are typically remote from Nashville or the Bay Area. We actually have recruiters in 12 different states. And the training and onboarding we do for them, it's about 2 days, where we really, kind of go over our process, the tools that we have, and how best to work with a sourcer out of our Nashville office, which we call the Nashville Executive Research Division of IQTalent, the NERD.
That's NERD. Okay, love that. So the kind of the fresh trainees, they get about a month of in class and then job shadowing overall. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's comprehensive.
Yeah,
it's comprehensive.
Give me a sense of that.
They're not working on fake. Well, they're not working on fake recs. They are working on real projects for real clients. So they are, on that. We teach them Boolean search. We teach them how to leverage all the tools that we have. So they're literally watching and doing everything that a sourcer does, just spread out. It takes a little longer. We are teaching them how to find email, use our tools to grab email addresses and phone numbers. We're teaching them how to cold call. We're teaching them how to have a pre-screen conversation. We are exposing them to client update calls, and they listen in. In some cases, we even, in situations where we're working with a client that knows they're working with the trainees, some of our clients actually love working with the trainees, because then they end up with anywhere from 3 to 7 people working on their recs. And so it's great when it's always awesome when a new team that comes in, a new class that comes in, fills a rec.
Nice.
It's great when they come. When they ring the bell.
Yeah.
We don't have a gong. We have a ship's bell.
Oh, cool. Cold calling, is that hard to teach these days? Are some of the newer grads hesitant to pick up the phone?
A little bit, but as long as we explain, we don't want you to call everyone. We want you to call what we call diamond candidates. Diamond candidates are candidates that have on paper, whether it be on LinkedIn or a resume that we find through a Google search or what have you, but they have 95% or more of the requirements that we're looking for. They work at the right company, have the right title. They talk about the right skill sets and experiences within whatever we're able to identify, and we ask them to call the diamond candidates. So it's bite sizes. So instead of calling 200 people, they're calling maybe 10 to 20. So by doing bite sizes and reducing that reduces the fear by reducing the number.
By the way,
would you like me to explain can I explain what a diamond, why we call it a diamond candidate?
Yeah.
And it's actually not because of the whole idea of a diamond in the rough, though that does work. When you think of recruiting, the old school terminology is, the recruiting funnel, which shows, very large, everything comes from you have candidates on one axis, number of candidates on one axis coming down to a point, a funnel. When in actuality, we start targeted. We try to call candidates that we think are highly likely to be qualified and hopefully interested. And so you actually start narrow. You widen and broaden the search criteria, and you start at a point, you work your way out, and you come back down to a butt in the seat. So it's more diamond-shaped, a diamond-shaped process, and that allows us to get candidates in the loop faster, through the process faster, and we've been able to, over time, through better training, better targeting, better outreach messages, and really honing this process down so it reduces the number of people we have to call and reduces the amount of time.
Is the diamond candidates? Do you always call first?
Those are usually the ones we are calling the first week of a project.
All right. How often do you get through?
Yeah,
how many voicemails are you guys leaving on those candidates? Do they call you back?
Typically, we get a lot of callbacks. So from the diamond candidates, we're looking at 50% or better. Mm-hmm. Overall, in the Bay Area, the response rate is a little bit worse.
Yep.
It's 25% or to 25 to 35. But outside the Bay Area, we're finding 35 to 50% response rates, and that's not necessarily interested. That's just response rates.
Right. How about on the email side of things? Do you track things like open rates there with your sourcers? And I'm curious also what you might use for that tracking.
We actually because of the way we partner with our clients, we operate within our clients' ecosystem.
Oh yeah.
So if they have Avature, we use their Avature iteration. So then we get the metrics that way.
Okay.
More often than not, our clients don't have a CRM. And because of the way most CRMs work and the way that we operate with our clients as an extension of their in-house team or as their in-house team, we do have a tracking document. It's an Excel spreadsheet, but we've created some pretty robust macros in there that produce some pretty awesome metrics for us.
Gotcha. So your team will, the client will set them up with an email account? As far as helping
get them access to their ATS. So we put candidates, our sourcers put candidates directly into the system. Our recruiters are managing all of their recs through the applicant tracking system. Our teams are included in update calls. We have our own update calls internally. We also have we're part of the update calls with the clients too.
What other tools are part of your sourcing toolbox or internal software?
I have the list ready to go.
All right.
I have the list ready to go.
Well, we love to hear tools.
So we, of course, we actually, of course, we have LinkedIn Recruiter. We have over 100 seats.
You were telling me you were one of the biggest LinkedIn recruiting holding seats.
We're actually
right.
Well, we're getting there, but actually we're one of the largest because we don't use the name sourcer on LinkedIn. We have more sourcer. We're in. If you just look for number of sourcers at any single company, we're in the top 10. Yeah, we're a very large sourcing organization, and we have over 50 clients now.
So basically, your LinkedIn bill is huge.
It's disgustingly huge, but it's hard to work without it.
Yeah.
We have Intello. We just signed up with HireTool.
Right.
We of course leverage Connectify, ZoomInfo, Stack Overflow. We're using a tool called Eightfold, eightfold.ai, AngelList, Crunchbase Pro. GitHub searches, Google searches. We do Bing searches as well because they look at Google and Bing look at data differently.
Yeah.
We leverage the Indeed database, the Monster Resume database. We don't post. We have Hoovers, we have Data.com, Dribble, the Ladders, and one of the tools that's actually proven to be incredibly effective at finding phone numbers and personal contact information is White Pages Premium.
Oh. What does that cost?
And it's the cheapest, tens of dollars a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, tens of dollars a month. We have a team that does nothing but grab contact information. We call them the CIA. They're the Contact Information Associates.
Great job.
And they are. So they can call themselves an agent of the CIA if they want to, but most of them just call themselves research associates. This is a paid internship, and an alum of the CIA, Adam Butler, was after he graduated from Vanderbilt, he joined our CIA in his free time. He grabbed email addresses and phone numbers for our team here. And then he ended up signing with the Patriots and played in the most recent Super Bowl.
Oh,
so
no way.
we can claim that an IQTalent alum played in the Super Bowl. He actually had playing time. It wasn't a starter, but he did get to play. And for the first time in my life, I rooted for the Patriots. It was hard. It was really hard.
Are you a Titans fan?
I was a Chargers fan until they moved to LA. But now that I've moved to Nashville, and the season hasn't started and they didn't actually go to the Super Bowl last year, I can feel like I'm not a bandwagoner. Yeah. So I am switching my allegiance to the Titans.
All right. Ever source anybody from Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram?
Our teams have.
Yep. Any one of those better than the other, or how do you kind of look at them as?
It depends. I have actually personally tweeted at someone for a job with a client. AutoNation asked us to find someone that was really active on social media, and I had found out about a specific person that was moving on from the company he was at. I couldn't find a personal email. I've only had work emails, and of course they were bouncing. So I ended up tweeting at him. And was able to get a phone call within about 30 minutes.
Wow.
Ultimately, he did interview, but he didn't want to relocate to Florida. So that was fun. And our team is, our team is geared towards engagement. So occasionally we will comment on somebody's public posts to get them engaged, but whatever it takes. If it means tracking down people on Facebook and sending them a message through Messenger. I know somebody is about to do a session on a Facebook hack. Michael Gray is a member of our team out of Atlanta, and so he's about to do a what we call nerducation for the team on how to hack, some Facebook hacks that he's either read about or come up with on his own.
Very cool. Well, let's take a quick break, listeners. I can tell you about our second sponsor today, which is Rejobify. So Rejobify wants to change the way employers reject candidates. So instead of simply rejecting them outright, you add a small amount of text to your rejection email template, inviting them to a landing page where they can sign up for a free job search hacks course and gain access to other resume tools and offers. It's pretty cool. Go to rejobify.com to check it out. All right, Chris, so how do you feel about chatbots taking over parts of the recruiting process?
They're not taking over. That's the Chicken Little thing going on.
Yeah.
I was at SourceCon in Vegas, and I saw one of the text chatbots, and it just didn't feel, it wasn't natural. And candidates respond better to personalized messages, personalized interactions. And this just felt very stilted. Over time, it might get smarter. Over time, the natural language side of things might get better. But I don't think chatbots are going to fix things right now or affect things too much right now. I do think overall, the AI side of things, it's going to make us more efficient. It's going to make our jobs a little bit easier. As far as, especially from sourcing perspective, we're still going to have to engage. We're still going to have to talk to them. We just won't be talking to as many people maybe. But I don't think that overall, I don't think that AI or chatbots will, replace us or, remove that, put us out of jobs. Yeah. It's just going to change things and make us more efficient. People thought the phone was going to ruin things. It made us more efficient. Yep. So Gerry Crispin feels the same way. In fact, he actually says things are going to change. We always adapt to new technology. And typically the new technologies make us more efficient. So it just means we're going to be able to do better work in less time for our clients and create better experiences for the candidates. Right now the candidates' most candidates complain about getting spammed for jobs that aren't relevant to them because nobody's taking the time. People aren't taking the time to look at their profile. My team frequently gets. They get love letters from candidates saying, I'm not interested, but I'm responding because you actually, found the word that I said. If you are actually interested in me as a candidate and the job is relevant, put this word first. We've found people that actually have hidden messages in their profiles that if you don't use that, answer that question or move it up. Yeah, we've actually had 3 or 4 instances of those. So I'm going to guess that there's probably a lot more out there.
Yeah. What's an example of that?
Somebody said, if you are, I want to make sure that you're actually reading my profile, please put this word, and I can't remember what the word was. Please put this word in the subject line.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had not heard
because they want people to read it.
Yeah.
We actually we ask our team, if they put something that's not creepy, don't be creepy. Don't go, oh, I see that you have 3 kids. I mean, that's too personal. But if they talk about being a diver, but they live in a landlocked state, and we're recruiting for somebody on the coast, reference that. Say, hey, I see that you referenced diving as a hobby. Our client, and you're based in the Midwest. Our client in Florida is looking. Be personalized, customize the outreach. So it takes a little longer. You don't reach out to as many people in a day, but the response rates are higher. It shows that you took the time to actually read their profile, and that actually that's where the chat bots are going to fail unless they actually get smart about how to reference personal information.
Yeah, interesting.
It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while.
Definitely. Well, Chris, I appreciate the info today. I think we learned a lot from the conversation. I guess my last question is, finish this sentence for me. So, sourcing people in 5 years will be like blank.
Dude, should have given me that question prepped ahead of time. It's going to be very different.
Yeah.
In 5 years, it's going to be easier.
Easier. Okay.
It's going to be easier.
I like the answer.
It's going to be easier.
I would agree. I think it's getting, technology is assisting in that, and everyone's online, and that's going to continue to evolve and shape how we recruit today. So, awesome. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining me today, and tell listeners how to connect with you and IQ Talent.
Oh, I'm antisocial. I don't want to talk to people. No, you can find me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/n/cmurdock, CMURDOCK, or you can email me at Chris, CHRIS, @IQTalentPartners.com.
Murdock. Remember Murdock from A-Team?
Oh, yes, there you go. You are aging yourself there.
That's right.
I have made A-Team jokes with my team.
If you have a problem, if no one else could help, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
Yeah, we are the A-Team. And of course, growing up in the 80s like I did, everyone just expected me to be crazy like Murdock.
Yeah.
And I think it affected my personality.
I pity the fool. All right. That's enough of my impressions for today. That will do it for this edition of the RecTech Podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors, HireTool and Rejobify. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. We're also on Spotify these days. And if you're an iTunes subscriber, leave a review, and I'll thank you on air. Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, always be recruiting.
Another episode of RecTech is in the books. Follow Chris on Twitter @ChrisRussell or visit rectechmedia.com, where you can find the audio and links for this show on our blog. RecTech Media helps both HR tech firms and employers to get more clients or candidates through our consulting practice and online tools. So be sure to check out our sites like recruiting headlines, job fairing, and more to stay up to date on what's happening in recruiting. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon on the next episode of RecTech, the Recruiting Technology Podcast.